Audra Wilson was not having it. When news broke that Caitlin Clark had secured a massive European contract, the WNBA was buzzing, but no one expected Audra to throw the kind of reaction she did. Clark, the rising star who had already captured the nation's attention with her long-range shooting and sharp basketball IQ, had just dropped the biggest bomb on the women's basketball scene. While some were applauding, others were stunned into silence. Audra, however, wasn't about to stay quiet. But before we proceed further, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. It wasn't that Audra didn't respect Caitlin, quite the opposite. Wilson knew talent when she saw it, and Clark was dripping with it. But that contract, that massive European deal, left Audra feeling like someone had just walked into her house, taken the last slice of pizza, and left without saying thanks. Her reaction wasn't just because of the money either, though that was a big part of it. It was more about what it represented for the future of women's basketball and the WNBA itself. Caitlin's deal, monumental as it was, had some unexpected side effects. Suddenly, the eyes that had been glued to the WNBA were shifting across the Atlantic. The tantrum, if you could call it that, was classic Audra. She's known for her fiery on-court presence and her ability to rally a team with nothing but a look, a raised eyebrow, or a dramatic hand gesture. But this was different. This wasn't just about hyping up a team. This was personal. Audra was the reigning WNBA MVP, the face of the league, and yet here was Clark, fresh off her college career, capturing headlines and securing deals that seemed impossible even a few years ago. It was as if the basketball universe had tilted slightly, and Audra wasn't about to let it slide without saying something. In a way, Audra's outburst was a reflection of her passion for the game. She wasn't the type to shy away from controversy, nor did she care much for maintaining a politically correct stance if she felt strongly about something. That's just who she was, raw, unfiltered, and fiercely protective of her place in the game. So when the news of Clark's contract hit, Audra's reaction wasn't just frustration, it was a statement. Imagine Audra sitting at home, scrolling through her feed, catching wind of the headlines. Her immediate response, a blend of disbelief and exasperation. Not the kind that simmers and fades, but the type that boils over into a Twitter rant, full of sarcastic comments and side-eye emojis. It was as if she was playing the role of everyone who had ever felt blindsided by unexpected news. There was no holding back. Wilson let everyone know exactly how she felt about Clark's move, calling out the system and the sudden shift in focus. For Audra, this wasn't just about one player, it was about what the future held for all of them. The thing about Audra Wilson is that she thrives in moments like this. Her outburst was theatrical, but it also had substance. She wasn't just mad for the sake of being mad. Audra understood the implications. The WNBA, a league that had fought tooth and nail for visibility and respect, was suddenly at risk of losing its brightest stars to overseas leagues with deeper pockets. And as one of the most prominent faces of the league, Audra felt the weight of that shift. While Clark's contract was a huge win for women's basketball as a whole, it also opened a can of worms. The question on everyone's mind was, what now? If players could secure massive contracts overseas, would they still be as committed to the WNBA? The league had spent years building itself up, gaining fans, sponsors, and TV deals, but now it was facing competition from an unexpected direction. The EuroLeague, once a place where players would go in the off-season to make a little extra cash, was becoming a real contender, offering deals that the WNBA simply couldn't match. And Audra, ever the competitor, wasn't about to sit back and watch the lead she loved be diminished. In between her outbursts, there were moments of genuine reflection from Wilson. Her tweets and interviews didn't just highlight her frustration, they also revealed her deep concern for the league's future. Audra had invested so much into the WNBA, not just as a player, but as a representative of women's sports. Her heart was in it, and that made the situation all the more personal for her. Caitlin's contract, while exciting, felt like a threat, a reminder that the WNBA still had battles to fight in terms of salary, recognition, and sustainability. There was a certain irony to Audra's reaction. She herself had been one of the biggest beneficiaries of the WNBA's recent growth. As one of the league's top earners and most marketable players, Wilson had seen firsthand how much progress had been made. But now, with Caitlin's deal stealing the spotlight, Audra found herself questioning whether that progress was enough. Her tantrum, if we're calling it that, wasn't just a spur-of-the-moment outburst. It was a culmination of years of frustration, ambition, and the desire to see women's basketball continue to thrive, both in the States and abroad. The funniest part of Audra's reaction wasn't the tantrum itself, but the way she handled it afterward. Even in her most heated moments, she had a way of making people laugh, of bringing humor into situations that on the surface seemed anything but funny. When reporters asked her about Clark's contract, Aja didn't hold back, but she also couldn't resist throwing in a few jokes, poking fun at herself and the situation. There was something endearing about it, the way she could be so serious and so lighthearted at the same time. That was Aja. Fiery and funny, competitive and carefree, all rolled into one. But beyond the jokes and the social media drama, there was a real concern about what this all meant for the WNBA. Would more players follow Clark's lead? Would the league have to rethink its salary cap structure to keep up with the big offers from overseas? These were questions that hung in the air, questions that Aja, whether she realized it or not, had brought to the forefront with her reaction. Aja's tantrum wasn't just about Clark's contract. It was about the future of women's basketball as a whole. She knew that for the WNBA to continue growing, it couldn't afford to lose its top talent. And while Caitlin's move to Europe was exciting for the sport globally, it also highlighted some of the challenges that still existed in the WNBA. Aja's outburst, with all its humor and frustration, was a reminder that there was still work to be done. Aja, being who she was, eventually calmed down. Her tantrum gave way to more measured responses, but the fire never really left her. She had too much passion for the game to let it go. Caitlin's contract was a wake-up call, not just for Aja, but for the entire league. It forced everyone to take a hard look at where the WNBA stood and where it was headed. And while Aja's reaction may have been loud and dramatic, it was also necessary. It sparked conversations that needed to be had, conversations about the future of women's basketball and what needed to change to keep it thriving. On one hand, some fans appreciated Aja's outburst. It showed just how much she cares about the WNBA and its future. She's not willing to sit by and watch as top talent walks away without saying something. Her passion is part of what makes her such a great leader on and off the court. On the other hand, though, there were those who thought the tantrum was a bit over the top. Some questioned whether it was appropriate for a player of her stature to react in such a public and dramatic way. There's a fine line between showing passion and losing control, and Aja's tantrum definitely flirted with that line. But in the end, Aja's reaction, whether viewed as justified or not, got people talking. It brought attention to the larger issue of player retention in the WNBA and how the league can continue to grow while keeping its top talent. Caitlin Clark's decision wasn't made in a vacuum, and Aja's tantrum wasn't just about one player leaving. It was a reflection of the growing pains the WNBA is experiencing as it fights for its place in the global sports landscape. Aja Wilson's personality is what makes her such a captivating figure in the WNBA. Her tantrum, as dramatic as it was, only added to her already larger-than-life persona. She's the kind of player who leaves it all out on the court and apparently isn't afraid to show her emotions off the court as well. Some may see her reaction as overblown, but for others, it was a necessary display of frustration from a player who wants nothing but the best for the lead she loves. At the end of the day, Aja Wilson's tantrum wasn't just about Caitlin Clark leaving for Europe. It was about the challenges the WNBA still faces in keeping its best players and continuing to grow the game. And while Aja's reaction may have been a bit over the top, it was also a reminder of just how much she cares. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content. We thrive on your feedback, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, keep discovering and stay tuned.